We're here to give you an update on the current storm situation, and hopefully it is the last update that we will give you on the storm situation. Let me introduce who we have at the table, starting at my right. Audrey Zibelman, who's the Commissioner of the Public Service Commission. Jim Malatras, who's the Director of State Operations. Joseph Giulietti, who is the President of the Metro North Railroad. Major General Patrick Murphy, who's been running the National Guard. Ronnie Hakem, who's immediately to my right, who is the President of the MTA New York City Transit Department. Patrick Foy to my left, who is the Executive Director of the Port Authority. Patricia Grober, who is the First Deputy Superintendent, New York State Police. Matthew Driscoll, Commissioner of New York State DOT. Bill Mulrow, Secretary to the Governor, and John Melville, Commissioner of Department of Homeland Security. Happy Sunday to all. We survived, and then some, I think it's fair to say. The update is, as we said, the travel ban was lifted at 7 a.m., and traffic has resumed, without issue thus far, and we hope it stays that way. The buses are up and running as of 7 a.m. They're on the normal weekend schedule, but they are running without incident. The Metro North, the 12:30 trains should be the first trains that are inbound, and 3 o'clock the first trains that are outbound for Metro North. And Mr. Giulietti will give us more detail on that. The problem we're still having is with the Long Island Railroad, which sustained significant damage in the yards through the storm. There's a lot of work to do to get the trains moving in the yards, as well as getting the stations ready for passengers. The crews have been working all night. They will work all day today, and we are hoping to have the LIRR up for tomorrow. But the MTA will be giving updates all through the day, and hopefully 6 o'clock tonight there'll be an update that will advise people on what's going to happen with the Long Island Railroad tomorrow. But Mr. Giulietti can speak to that also. Port Authority, all crossings are open, all bridges and tunnels, and are operating well. The airports are open. And the Port Authority did an extraordinary job of cleaning the airports. It's now up to the flight airlines, what flights will be operating, and Pat Foy will give us a briefing on that. The travel ban has been lifted. That does not mean people should go out and take a ride and see the sights. The roads are clear for the most part. There are still entrance ramps and exit ramps that are not clear. There are still situations where cars are getting stuck on highways, so let's not misinterpret the travel ban. If it is essential travel, necessary travel, that's one thing. But if you do not need to be on the roads, you shouldn't be on the roads, because there still are dangerous spots. There are still spots with black ice, and this is still about getting the emergency crews out there and letting them do their job. And every time a car gets stuck, that actually hurts that. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank New Yorkers for their cooperation and their consideration. I know they were inconvenienced yesterday when I put the travel ban in place. New Yorkers are not accustomed to being constricted. I understand that. I understand that the travel ban was an imposition, and it is not something that I have done often. But the travel ban had two purposes. One was to protect people, just to protect public safety. I was on the roads yesterday morning. The roads were extraordinarily dangerous. People were getting stuck all over the place. So it was literally to protect people. Second, the main goal is to clear the roads and let the emergency crews do their work. When you have traffic on the roads, the plows literally can't do their work. So what the ban did for us was it protected the public, and it allowed the crews to actually clean the roads. And I think in retrospect, when you look back, it was the right decision, because we have had success in both areas. This storm was very dangerous. The current estimates are about 19 lives were lost along the eastern seaboard by this storm. Luckily, there are no fatalities that we know of in New York due to the storm. No accident fatalities, etc. And that is really saying something, since our area was probably the most populous area that was hit by the storm, and no deaths attributed to the storm. We did unfortunately lose 5 New Yorkers from heart attack-related deaths from shoveling snow, which is something I caution people today. If you are old like me, you want to think twice before you go out there and start shoveling. At least that's the excuse I use, not to shovel any snow today. But the number of deaths, protecting public safety worked, and we just went through a review of the roads in the entire metropolitan area. You have many roads that are down to blacktop, that are that clean. You look at the Long Island Expressway, Northern State Parkway, Van Wyck Expressway. The crews really did do their job. And the reason they were able to do their job as well as they did, as quickly as they did, was because you did not have the normal traffic on the roads. That was the purpose of the ban, and I think the ban served its purpose. But I know New Yorkers were inconvenienced, but in true New Yorker spirit, they rose to the occasion. It was also heartwarming to see yesterday how New Yorkers were there and rallied one for the other. I can't tell you how many circumstances I came across where people were out shoveling other people's driveways and walkways, people were out pushing cars, people were helping people across the street. It was just great to see how New Yorkers come together in a beautiful spirit of community. You know, sometimes when things are at their worst, it brings out the best, and I believe that's true about New Yorkers. It's also true about our public servants, who have done amazing work all across the board. This was hard. You have crews out there who have been literally working around the clock under very difficult conditions. You have Department of Sanitation crews, cleanup crews, the police departments in the entire downstate area. The NYPD, Nassau Police, Suffolk Police really have done a great job. The MTA, the Port Authority, has done a phenomenal job. And they all cooperated. One vignette that I'll keep with me. Last year we had 7 feet of snow in Buffalo. Just to put in for New Yorkers downstate, we had a lot of snow. 7 feet of snow is a lot of snow. 7 feet of snow in Buffalo. And I had called Mayor de Blasio, and he had sent up NYPD and fire department personnel. And I met the fire department personnel in Buffalo. And I said, you know, I want to thank you very much for being here. It is a long ride in a fire truck from New York City to Buffalo. And they said without hesitation, you know, everybody was there for us after 9/11. And we'll never forget that. And when anybody in the state needs help, we're going to be there. On this occasion, we had crews from upstate who were down in New York City. We brought crews from all across upstate to come down with machinery, etc. And I saw them yesterday, and they said the exact reciprocal. They said the New York FDNY was there for us when we needed help, and whatever they need, we're going to be there for them. And that's New York. That's one helping the other. That's at the end of the day, we're one state, upstate helping downstate, we're one community. So it was good to see. We've made a lot of progress, but I don't want people to get complacent. We're not out of the woods yet. It's not done. It's cold out there. It's going to be cold tonight. and there is still a possibility for black ice through the day and tonight, and a refreeze tonight. So, so far so good, but we have more work to do. With that, let me turn it over first to Ronnie Hakam, who will give us an update on the train situation, both the subway system and the above-ground trains. Ronnie?
Thank you, Governor. As you had noted, we were forced to suspend some service yesterday in our above-ground subway system. That enabled us to come back online. Men and women worked through the night to clear the tracks and provide the train service so that subways were up and running. The majority of our service as of 9 a.m. this morning. There are areas in some areas in Brooklyn and Staten Island where we continue to work during the day, and we'll be posting on mta.info the restoration of those services during the course of the day. All of our buses rolled out at 7 a.m. this morning, so bus service is up and running. Literally thousands of men and women at New York City Transit have been working through the storm, through the night, continue to work today in order to assure a full and orderly and safe restoration of service, and I thank them and appreciate the opportunity to do so. Governor, we are up, we are running, we are going to restore as much service as we can during the course of the day, and we'll keep people posted.
Great. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Joseph Giulietti will give us an update on Metro North and the Long Island Railroad.
Thank you, Governor. On behalf of Tom Prendergast, the MTA has been working throughout the night and will continue to work throughout the day until we get all of our service restored. We have a lot of dedicated people that we are indebted to, and we are indebted to you, Governor, and the DOT, who is also looking to go and assist us and has got trucks headed and has trucks down there helping on the Long Island, which you'll hear about shortly. We've got a great coordination as well with Pat Foy, and on terms of Metro North, we will and are restoring our service as of 12:30 coming in. The governor already reported on that, 3 o'clock going out. Our issues were in the Bronx. We suffered in the Bronx as the Long Island did, with over 24 inches of snow that had to be removed. It is still being removed manually, and we will continue working that, and we'll continue with our forces all the way through the day and into tomorrow night until we have our railroad back to the safe railroad that it's supposed to be. Long Island is going at the same direction. They are doing everything they can as safely as possible. They did get the same types of snow that you're going to hear about that happened at Kennedy and LaGuardia, with well over 24 inches of snow throughout their entire system. They are digging out. They are digging out with the support from the DOT. They have over 2,000 personnel that have been working to go and get this railroad back, and they will continue to work until we have our railroad fully restored, and we will be reporting on that. So I urge the public to stay in touch with the MTA info, and you will get your updates as it's going through, and we look forward to Governor delivering you back the service that the region deserves.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll hear from Patrick Foy, who's the Executive Director of the Port Authority.
Governor, thank you. Let's start with the airports. The airlines acted responsively and proactively and canceled a great deal of flights today, about 85% at LaGuardia, well over 50% at JFK. Having said that, despite 30.5 inches at JFK and over 28 inches at LaGuardia, the airports remained open. First arrival at JFK was this morning at 7:10 a.m., an Air India flight. The first departure will be in a couple of minutes, 10 a.m., a JetBlue flight to Nassau. For travelers traveling to JFK and planning to use the AirTrain, please leave extra time. The AirTrain is not operating this morning as a result of the heavy snows, and we'll be updating the restoration of service on AirTrain. At LaGuardia, the first departure will be at noon, a JetBlue flight to West Palm Beach. First arrival, 1 p.m., Delta, a flight from Minneapolis. About 700 cancellations at LaGuardia today. I want to thank the Port Authority staff throughout, management staff, union staff, and the Port Authority police for their extraordinary work. A second about bridges and tunnels, and I'm speaking for both the Port Authority and the MTA with respect to our bridges and tunnels. Our bridges and the MTA's bridges were closed and reopened at 7 o'clock this morning without incident. True in the case of both the Port Authority and the MTA, just to give you a sense of the scope of the challenge. At the George Washington Bridge alone, the closing and the opening involved 18 separate approach lanes leading to 7 eastbound lanes. That was true with respect to each of our bridges and tunnels, same thing with respect to the MTA. Port Authority Bus Terminal opened at 7 a.m. This morning. Please, if you're traveling by bus out of the bus terminal, please check with your carriers. Lastly, PATH service to the 6 underground stations in PATH in Manhattan continued throughout the storm on a weekend schedule. That continues to be the case right now. Service from New Jersey from Journal Square to Grove we expect to restore in the next hour or two, and our goal is to restore service from Newark throughout the entire system for the Monday rush. Thank you, Governor.
Great, thank you. With that, we'll go to Matthew Driscoll, who is the Commissioner of Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. State Department of Transportation crews are active in post-storm cleanup and assistance. That assistance includes additional support for the Long Island Railroad. As you've heard, we're supplying dozens of people and equipment to help them dig out. In addition, I'll give you some DOT storm response totals. Total respondents for supervisors and operators, 1,278 people from across the state, 555 plow trucks, 9 snow blowers, 88 loaders, 58 medium-sized plows, 6 tow plows, 5 graders, and 6 vacuum trucks. And I want to give a special thanks to all the men and women at the DOT for just a terrific, well job done. Thank you, Governor.
Here, here, they deserve it. You know, one of the silver linings, if you want to call it that, about the frequency of these extreme weather events is we have much more experience in handling them and much more experience in working together to handle them. One of the main byproducts of snowstorms, blizzards, gusts of wind is typically power outages, especially on Long Island. And that is the probably single most debilitating systemic failure when we lose power. At one time, we had 25,000 power outages on Long Island primarily. That number is down to 172, which is amazing progress. And that's thanks to Audrey Zibelman and the Public Service Commission's leadership. We pre-deployed additional resources. We had 450 other company line trucks come in to help on Long Island. I was on the Long Island Expressway yesterday. There was just a convoy of line trucks coming in from other states to be of assistance. Luckily, we didn't need them the way we thought we would need them, and they're now a convoy on the way out. But last night they did extraordinary work, so we want to thank them for that. I also want to thank my governmental colleagues, County Executive Ballone, starting in the east with Suffolk, County Executive Mangano, Mayor de Blasio. They really did a great, great job all across the board, and their teams and their crews did a great job. And Governor Christie, our neighbor, we want to thank him very much for his cooperation, especially when it came to closing the Port Authority assets so we could limit travel into the downstate area. I want to thank him very much. With that, any questions? It would be our pleasure.
Governor, do you have any more information about the 5 deaths that you received reported earlier at 3, 2 new ones?
Yeah, does anyone have any more information? Anyone heard?
They were
Two individuals on Long Island, and there was also shovel-related deaths.
and the others were 2 in Queens and 1 in Staten Island.
That's correct.
What part of Long Island?
We'll get you that information. They haven't released all the details on the individuals yet.
I don't know if they're agents.
We'll get you that. They haven't released all that information yet.
Hi, Governor. As Long Islanders make their way commute into work in the city tomorrow, what precautions should they take? What can they expect in the morning commute? Will it be all good to go tomorrow morning?
Well, that is the $64,000 question. The Long Island Railroad is the remaining issue in terms of cleanup and getting it ready. And that's what Mr. Giulietti just spoke to. The train yards themselves have snow over the tracks, over the equipment. We're now in the process of removing that snow. And then you have to check all the equipment once the tracks are exposed. You also have the practical problem of opening up the stations themselves, the parking lots, the staircases, et cetera. So it's a tremendous amount of work. Department of Transportation is deploying its personnel to work with the Long Island Railroad. We are not sure at this time what the rate of progress will be. And at 6 p.m., the MTA will be updating the progress for the expectation for Monday morning's commute. Obviously, Monday morning from Long Island without the LIR operating is not a pretty picture. So the LIRR is doing everything they can to be up and ready for Monday morning, but we don't know that yet.
Governor, have you seen any evidence of flooding or physical damage to roads and bridges? It's not enough flooding to make you pass storms.
You know, we were very worried last night about flooding, and I was on with the two Long Island County executives until late in the evening, Steve Ballone and Ed Mangano. We were watching the flooding in New Jersey, which was significant. It was not as bad as Superstorm Sandy, but it was significant. And that tidal surge just in Superstorm Sandy, you could just watch it come up the coast, right, and make the turn and hit Long Island. Luckily, that did not happen. We had some mild flooding, mild to moderate, but nothing as extensive as happened in New Jersey. Part of it was the pattern of the wind. It pushed the tides away from Long Island as opposed to on Long Island, and the wind gusts were strong. And part of it, I think, is we have made a lot of improvements on Long Island since Superstorm Sandy. Literally, the beaches, many of the beaches are different. There are many more, have berms, have dunes, have walls that are now installed. The pumping capacity has been improved. So I think many of the modifications since Sandy made a difference. But, you know, Mother Nature can be fickle. And she did a lot of damage, but the wind last night and the wind pattern was actually helpful for Long Island.
Anything else?
Also, wonder if you can weigh in on how a possible President Bloomberg would handle the storm.
How a possible President Bloomberg would handle the storm.
He announced in the middle of the storm yesterday.
Well, obviously, he was unfazed by the storm. That's how I would take that. I worked with Mayor Bloomberg during storms. He was the mayor in New York City, obviously, when I was serving as governor. And we worked together on a number of storms. But in terms of his presidential aspirations, I have nothing but respect for Mike. I've worked with him for many years. I consider him a friend. I have already picked a preference in the presidential race, which is Hillary Clinton. But I wish Mike nothing but the best.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.